Title IX was passed in the 70s. It's a fantastic bill that protects the rights of women in sports, among other things, not to be discriminated against. Well, Title IX isn't being used the way you thought it was. Now it's being used in the courts to get men who are cross-dressers to be able to participate in women's sports, to the detriment of women. Will Johnson, the world is turning upside down as we were just chatting. In particular, women's sports have become, well, whatever you want to call a woman and whatever definition you want to use. And what's really, really weird to me is in the 1970s, a couple of ladies founded something that ended up being called the National Women's Law Center. And it was all about protecting women's rights under Title IX. And for our viewers that don't know, Title IX says that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subject to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. It's a great idea. You can't discriminate based on sex. That's Title IX. Well, what these ladies in 1972 never imagined is that women and men, boys and girls, definitionally was going to become fluid. So you are whatever you say you are. Genetics, physiology, biology, that's crap. So what's happened is this same group, the National Women's Law Center, just filed a brief in court to protect the rights of men. This is not a joke, to participate in women's sports and girls' sports under Title IX. In other words, if you say you're a girl, well, then you're Wilhelmina, and I could be Barbara, and I could set all kinds of records, right? And so could you. And these people at the National Women's Law Center are going to stand up for you in all your flamboyant weirdness, and mine too, instead of protecting the rights of girls and women to participate in sports without worried about being crushed by some guy on the wrestling mat or on the track meet or in the swimming pool or whatever. What the heck, man?
You know what, Barry? If I can, I want to interject something here.
Interject away. Interject away.
So you remember this little debate that just took place? Remember that with President Trump and Joe Biden?
I do.
After the debate, Joe Biden, along with all of the Democrats, all of them, the government state media, they were saying President Trump lied 28 times. They never really come out and talk about the lies. They just say he lied 28 times. They never really come out, or that when they say he lied about this has actually happened, they spin it to make it look like a lie. And now they're saying it's 50 times. And now you're wondering, what does this have to do with it? Well, the same people that's telling us that President Trump lied 28 times, now today 50 times, are telling us a man can get pregnant, telling us a man can put on a dress and go into the girls' locker room because now he is actually a woman. The same people that are telling us that President Trump lied, they hold the key to the truth of everything. This is the same people telling us this nonsense. And then on top of that, they're constantly saying how they want to defend women's rights when it comes to taking the life of an innocent child. They'll protect your rights to do that all day long. But when it comes to you as a woman, a little girl, the female species, the actual female species, and you're a grown man wanting to go into the restroom and shake your junk in front of them, they would defend the man. Your rights no longer matter. So how did this confusion begin? How did we get here? What in the world? Just like you just said, what is going on? Reality is flipped upside down, and they're going along with the insanity because insanity is what they want to be reality.
I don't have an answer to your question. I'm just reading their brief while you were talking, and it's all about protecting women's rights and protecting women's rights and protecting women's rights.
Right.
Except none of these people have an explanation as to why self-identification, because you have a mental illness, overrides biology. I don't understand why and how this is a good thing. The people that gave to this legal group for 50 years were so happy that there were lawyers to defend women's rights. They're still defending women's rights. They've just changed the definition of woman. Anything you want it to be.
And again, they believe that they have all the answers. They hold the keys to what is true. And again, let me say this too, Barry. They're the first ones to come out and talk about disinformation and misinformation. They're the first ones to come out and say it. And then if you ask them, well, what is a woman? I don't know.
Will Johnson, there's a judge on the Supreme Court that couldn't or wouldn't answer the question. And they were asking her in the Senate Judiciary Committee last year, what is your definition of a woman? She said, well, I'm not a doctor. I can't answer that. And then they said, well, you're going to answer those questions in court because women's rights are going to come before the court all the time. And you can't even define what a woman is. And she said, no, I can't. That's Justice Brown. And she got confirmed. And she's on the court. And she doesn't know what a woman is. How the heck can they interpret the Constitution if she doesn't know who half the population is?
They don't. They don't want people to go onto the Supreme Court to interpret the Constitution the correct way. They want people to go on the Supreme Court to do away with the Constitution, to do away with all our rights. This whole thing about them taking the rights away from men because they can't go into the restroom with little girls, that's what they want them to fight for. So they can have the right to do that. So disregard everything of women, little girls. Barry, I have a daughter. She's an adult now. But even though she's an adult now, I mean, if I ever went to a restaurant and I saw a grown man follow her into the restroom, I'm going to follow in too, because he and I are going to have a problem. And then I guess the restaurant is going to have to kick me out for going in there defending my daughter. Now, I'm not going in there to be violent. I'm going to go in there.
I'm right next to you on that. My daughter's a grown woman. And if I saw a man get up from the table and sashay in after her, I'm going to have him in a chokehold.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't care what he identifies as.
And you know what? The interesting thing, Barry, they go, but oh my goodness, you're so violent. You're so violent. And I'm like, you know, what happened to us defending and protecting women, little girls? This is their space.
That's this organization. They're there for you. The National Women's Law Center is there for you. Oh, unless you're straight and not a cross-dresser, then in which case they're not there for you.